Hi, so it's taken me 4 or 5 months to do this video, and it's taken me a global pandemic to do this video. I was asked to do it a long time ago by some special friends, Tom and Elizabeth, for their own home practice, but we thought it would be great to gift to everyone, to members of the public, to friends, to family, and specifically to the community of Real Evolution Yoga. So if you've been to one of our programs, awesome. If you're thinking about coming to one of our programs, this video will introduce you to what we practice most mornings. This is a condensed version. It's a mixture of hatha, vinyasa, power yoga, and then of course my own spice into everything. And I hope you really enjoy it. Provide me feedback. And if you'd like some more, now that I have this set up in my self-isolation room, then I'll be able to make more videos. So I hope you enjoy it, and roll out your mat. You don't need any props unless you know that you usually use blocks and straps and blankets for, bony knees or tight hamstrings. So whatever it is you see fit to bring into your practice, do so, and I will meet you on the mat. Let's start by lying down, and you'll be lying down on your back, and you can lie down with your knees into your chest if that's more supportive on your lower back. You can lie down with your legs in bound angle pose, so the soles of your feet together and your knees butterflying wide open. And you can also lie down in classical shavasana with your arms and your legs flat to the earth, wherever feels best for you. It really doesn't matter how you rest. The point is to be still. We will eventually get moving, but for the first few moments of our practice, we'll establish a deeper connection to breath. So once you find yourself settled, take a really, really exaggerated breath in through your nose. And then as you let it go, feel the entire length of your exhale until you feel empty, until there's no breath left. There's a little contraction in your belly to push that last bit of breath out. So that as you breathe in again, you can breathe in with a little more vigor into your rib cage, your abdominal wall. And it's just a practice of noticing your breath. If you breathe slow or small or big and fast, right now it's just to watch the breath. And gradually you can extend it, deepen it as you see fit. Over the next few moments, you can start to awaken your hands and your feet, roll through your ankles, your wrists, your fingers, your toes, all the while still paying attention to how breath is moving through you. Slowly, you'll step your feet to your mat. You can sway your knees a few times side to side. You may even stretch your arms above your head if you have the space. And then gradually, if you're not already there, draw your knees into your chest. And you can choose to stay here with your knees drawn in, hands to your knees or the backside of your thighs. You may choose to attach your hands to your ankles or your hands to your feet in a happy baby posture. And the whole point is to start to free up some space and check in with your mobility as it stands right now. So noticing those stretch sensations, noticing tightness or spaciousness. You're exploring the space of your body as it is right now. Creating space with attention and with breath. Next, we'll check in with your strength. Step your feet down to your mat right underneath your pelvis and about the width of your pelvis. Flare your toes and firm them down into the earth. And tilt your pelvis a few times like you're doing a cat and a cow. So flattening your lower back and then lifting your lower back and just rolling across your tailbone down to the tip and back up into the lower spine. It's okay if it doesn't fully flatten or it doesn't really lift. Just try to move your pelvis back and forth like a cat and cow motion. You'll start to feel that your glutes turn on. You'll start to feel that your lower abdominal muscles start to turn on and engage. And then eventually you can start to lift your hips a little, maybe start with a couple inches so that you now feel your quadriceps or your thigh muscles engage. With your arms, lower them down beside you and place your palms on the floor. Before you lift your hips any higher, take a little snuggle of your shoulder blades closer together, and then try your first bridge. Lift your hips off of the earth, and just see how high you can go comfortably without changing your breath, without struggling too hard. And then you can roll on down when you're ready. And try it again. I like to inhale all the way up. Hold for the exhale. Inhale, see if you can press a little higher. And then exhale, roll back down. There's no right or wrong way to breathe through this. The point is that you're paying attention to your breath and your body movements are matching the breath. You can exhale up and even inhale big at the top. And then again, exhale, roll on down. Let's take one more bridge. When you feel ready, let's rise up and hold. And we'll hold for a few moments. If you want to integrate more of your shoulders, interlace your hands if you can find them. Even press your palms if that's accessible. And you may be able to externally rotate your upper arm bones even more so that your rib cage could flare out. You could focus your breath into the sides of your ribs as if you're breathing up into the pits of your arms. And check in with your feet. If you're starting to grip in your toes or your knees are starting to flare wide so the weight is in the outer edges of your feet, reaffirm your toes wide and really press down into your big toe. And as you do that, can you feel some engagement up into your inner thighs, glutes, and then lower belly? Let's take 2 more breaths. Soften your jaw. Soften your focus in your eyes. And then slowly, you'll journey back. So hands, then shoulders, then spine, all the way down to your pelvis. And draw your knees back in and loosen up. Move around, move freely. And we'll do a few core exercises. So set your legs like you're in a tabletop with your ankles flexed. Maybe you flare your toes wide too. Knees pretty much above your hips. And hands, place them right on tops of your thighs near your knee joints. And a little bit of pressure. So start to press your legs away from you. Now, at the same rate, can you press your knees back into your hands, but without moving your knees in? Try to keep your knees stacked above your hips. Knees are about hip distance or so, really whatever's comfortable. And it looks like you're doing nothing, but once you start to push your legs away from you and have your legs pushed back into your hands, you'll notice your abdominals, the entire torso of you, engage. Ribs start to lower down and in. Maybe even up into your chest, you can start to feel engagement. But see if you can dissipate some tension through your jaw or your face. Your jaw doesn't need to do the work here. Let's take 2 more breaths. Push into your legs, and legs push back into your hands. And release. Bring your knees in, soften up. Maybe unclench your teeth and make a few weird faces. And we'll do it again. So same setup. Knees like you're in tabletop. But this time, hands a little bit closer to your hip joint. So on the top sides of your thighs. And you're pressing into your thigh bones. See if you can relax through your shoulders a bit and your neck. And then start that pressure, that push. Legs press back into your hands just as much as your hands are pressing into your thighs. You might notice a difference in core engagement or a chest engagement. Notice if your rib cage wants to flare and see if you can tuck it down a little bit so you're engaging more. It's easy to let the arms do this work, but bring it into the core by lowering your ribs. And then check in, make sure you're still breathing. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath. Fully in and fully out. Let it be tough. And then slowly release. Notice the counteraction, the softening. After effort, there's always surrender. And then when you're ready, we'll start to rock and roll. And we're going to rock and roll a few times. And by a few, I mean like 10 or 12. So rocking and rolling the whole length of your spine. If you absolutely hate rocking and rolling, don't do it. If you love it, you may have your own version of it, rolling up one side of your body to the other. If you've been in Thrive, we often roll from one hip to the other shoulder, kind of rolling across the back. And then you can start to add to this. You can do this without your hands. You can do this and add a little bit of a step. So one foot can come down and you bear weight on that foot, like a pistol squat. Other foot, try it on. You can also add a bit more control, coming up into Navasana, bow pose, and coming back into a little bit of a shoulder stand, as much as you feel comfortable. Also, if you're worried about falling, or you'd like to practice falling, you can try standing up from here. So as you stand up, you could do it with crossed ankles and reach. You could try it with a wide squat and reach. And you might have to use your hands. Step your hands beside you and give yourself a boost. Let's do it 2 more times. And on that second round, come all the way up to standing. With or without your hands, you'll come up to standing. Oh, you can't even see my head. That's okay. So once you're standing, feet are any distance apart that helps you feel stable, and stretch your arms all the way up into the air. Stretch up, you might even look up. You may sway backward if your lower back is feeling up for it. Take another big breath in. And then as you exhale, soften your knees and slowly come on down to your first deeper stretch, a standing forward fold. As you come forward and down, you might want to roll through your wrists and shrug your shoulders and shake off any kind of spots of tension, those rough edges, the sharp edges. You can start to soften through your neck, soften through your belly, taking a big belly breath in and out. And then we'll start to flow through this. Let's bend your knees deeply. So you're using the strength of your legs to lift your upper body back upright, back to standing. You may pause. And then on a full breath in, arms reach again. Reach straight up towards the sky. Even eyes could look up to the sky. And then fold forward slow. And we'll repeat that process. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling to rise tall, using your leg strength to lift you. Swoop your arms, reach and open, and then exhale back down. And go at your own pace. In this whole video, you don't have to follow me. You can skip things. Luckily for you, there's a fast forward and a rewind button. So if anything today doesn't feel good, don't do it. If you want to keep doing it, pause. In this flow, you could try on the opposite breath. So you could exhale to stand, and then inhale to fold. What would it be like to try on different ways of breathing? There's no one right way to do it so long as you're doing it. Let's take one more all the way up. And all the way down. And once you're down, walk your feet just a little bit closer if they're not already hip distance apart. Bring your hands to just below your knees and lift your torso so that it's pretty much parallel to the ground. You may want to roll your shoulders away from your ears and create a bit of a double chin effect. You can feel that whole length and strength of your spine from tailbone to the back of your skull. Take another breath in. Legs are almost straight but never locked out. And then exhale, fold. Cycling through that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Soften your knees even more as you fold. Be easy. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold. Final one, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Let's step your hands down to the mat. Walk your feet backwards, and we'll come into child's pose. Rest your head, rest your hands, close your eyes. Noticing what it's like to be still after movement. You may even start to listen to your breath or feel your breath bounce off of your mat back into your face. Making these minute, really small, sometimes unnoticeable sensations the most interesting thing that you could pay attention to right now. When you feel ready, open up your hands, fingers spread wide, and start to feel some pressure in your palms. Once you do that, lengthen your arms strong and feel the engagement of your arms up into your shoulders. Even press down into your palms so your head starts to lift. Take a full breath in. Then as you exhale, let's rise on up through your tabletop. Tuck your toes and slowly start to lift your knees and your hips up to your first downward facing dog. This inversion. We'll be doing a few downward dogs today, so if you ever want to change it to a tabletop on all fours, on your hands and knees, or even down to a child's pose, a little more restorative, you can do that. In your first downward dog, let's explore it. So a new shape for your body, it's nice to see where you're at. Always beginning from where you already are. You can pedal through your feet, shrug through your shoulders. You can even cat and cow your spine and shake your head. Anything goes. The idea is to explore. And we'll stretch one leg towards the sky. So if you're in a small space like I am, just be mindful of your surroundings. Take one leg and lift it tall. It doesn't matter which one, you only got two. Reach tall, even point your top toes. You could even extend through your bottom ankle, coming up to tiptoe, and then back down to your heel. You may even want to draw a few circles with that top leg, bending your knee. You can go slow or a little faster. You may even open up, twisting from basically your belly button down towards your pelvis. Bending your top knee, kind of like a dog at a tree. And then we'll come back down and simply switch. So other leg tall, go for height, checking in. Notice if your arms start to warp, if one arm is doing more work than the other. Let's even out the push between your palms. And then you can start to move your top leg any which way you please. Eventually opening up and twisting, stacking one hip over top of the other. And then slow and steady return all 4 points connected down to your mat. You're going to stay on your hands and your feet as best you can. I'll give you another modification in a second. Look to your hands and walk them closer towards one another so that you're creating a bit of a tripod base. Feet are wider than your hips. With one of your hands, reach back to your opposite ankle. And if you can't find your ankle, find the floor. And from here, you will twist, looking under your lifted arm, using a little leverage, that anchor point of your hand, bound to the floor, your ankle, to twist. An option for a little less effort would be to come down to your hands and your knees, and you thread the needle. So hand comes underneath, and we lower down to the side of your face. Slowly, let's switch. So tripod base, opposite hand reaches back towards the opposite foot. You can grab ankle, knee in front of your toes, just gripping onto your sticky mat and rotating. Notice if one foot is bearing more weight than the other, try to balance it out. And you can always modify, coming down to your knees and threading the needle. Slow return. Back to your down dog with your hands about shoulder distance apart. Feet can walk in closer toward one another. Let's inhale, come forward into plank. You could lower your knees first or stay on your toes. Breathe in and push the floor away. Exhale, come down. Slow and steady. Once you land on your stomach, roll your shoulders back, lift your head, your heart. Maybe float your hands for this first time, give your wrists a break. Take another breath in, see if you can lift a touch taller. And then exhale, come on down. Pausing just for a moment, feel that your legs are really long behind you, and then engage through your glutes. Imagine lifting your lower belly just a little bit off of the mat. So the more you engage your glutes, the more you can tilt your pelvis backward and press your pubic bone and your thighs into the mat. And then from here, choose just a bit bigger of a back bend. You might lift just another centimeter with some effort from your hands. You may be ready for a cobra or an upward facing dog with your knees elevated as well, but can you keep the engagement of your glutes and your low belly? Take another breath in. Exhale, return everything down to the earth. And we'll do it one more time. You choose your back bend, either without hands, halfway up, or all the way as you inhale. Then this time, exhale, come back, downward facing dog. Once you're in downward dog, inhale and let it all go. Then look forward and breathe in. Exhale, you can tippy toe, take a long step, or even hop your feet to your hands. As you arrive, halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Slowly come to standing. Take your time. You've been upside down for some time. Once you're tall, bring your arms up overhead. Eyes look high. Big breath in at the top. And then exhale, let it all go. Maybe take a drink of water or adjust anything that feels out of place. And we'll stay near the top edge of your mat and we'll move a little bit faster. Again, you can choose the pace. You can slow this down by pausing the video. Skip it entirely. No one's watching you. This is all for you. Roll your shoulder blades back and down and stand really tall and proud. Stand big. And let's breathe big. In and out through your nose. And connecting this full breath to full movement. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank from your toes or from your knees. Breathe in. Exhale, come down to the earth. Inhale, untuck your toes, choose a back bend. And as you exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step or jump. Halfway lift. Inhale, strong. Exhale, soften. Rise tall. Reach up and breathe in. Exhale, hands beside you. Again, inhale, grow tall. Reach up, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, halfway lift. Let this exhale move you all the way down to the mat, from plank through low push-up to land. Big breath in to open your chest, your throat, and your eyes. Exhale moves you backward to down dog. Then next breath in, eyes forward. Choose your transition as you breathe out. Inhale, half lift, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, soften and fold. Full breath in moves you up, open and tall. Exhale to complete your sun salutation. Final time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Maybe you hold low push-up. Through to your back bend, breathing in. And exhale over your toes, down dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, tippy toe, lightly hop. Once you get there, half lift, breathing in. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in and grow. All the way to standing. Exhale, hands can come to your heart. Pause for a moment of stillness, of appreciation. Pause to feel your breath moving through you. Pause to feel your strength. Full breath in. And let it all go. You can open your eyes and we'll come into a half moon pose. So getting ourselves there, you may choose to use a block or just something to rest your left hand onto, and it can be any height that's helpful for you. For me, I got extra long arms and extra long fingers, so I'm good without the block. So left hand and left foot will stay rooted. Right hand to your right hip. Now, the more space you have between your left foot and your left hand, the better, I think, just because you have a wider base of support. Because eventually, you'll lift your right leg off of the mat, and it may lift and look like this, everything bent. You may work to straighten just your standing leg. It doesn't need to lock out. Keep it a little bit bent. And you may work to straighten your top leg and your top toes, that back right foot, have them sideways so that your right hip is somewhat stacked over top of your left hip. If you want to express this further, roll your right shoulder blade back so that you're turning your chest along with your hips, and you may reach your right arm to the sky. Once you go there, imagine that you're reaching in 5 different directions, hand to hand, foot to foot, and out through the crown of your head. And all the while, it's not worth it if you're not breathing, so full breaths. We'll be here for another 2. 1. And then slowly, eyes back to the floor, hands back to the mat, then slowly feet step side by side. Once you're here, give yourself a shake off. Shake off anything that feels weird or tight. Get loose. I'll do it again, just turning myself around. Now for the opposite side. So coming down, soften both knees into your forward fold. Now it's your right limbs that'll stay connected. So again, block, can of soup, small child, just kidding, underneath your right hand. With your right hand pretty far away from your right foot so that you have a good base of support. I even walk my hand over to the right a bit. Left hand to left hip, start to bear weight on your right foot. And once you feel ready for liftoff, you can start by slowly extending your left leg behind you. And it's okay if it stays bent, if you work one leg straight at a time. Remember that your standing leg never needs to lock out. Keep a micro bend in your knee just so that you have muscular support around your joints. Then as you see fit, you could start to express this in different ways. First, it can be simply by extending your left leg a little higher, straighter, opening up through your chest and even reaching your top left hand. If you're really up for the balance challenge, instead of looking at the floor, try looking at the side wall or your top left hand. Notice how your breath rate may have changed. Your breathing quality changes as you place more effort in your physical body. So bring the breath back into play and have your body match the breath instead. If it's too tough, modify your physical stature, your physical shape, so that you can breathe naturally and fully. Let's take one more breath in. And as you breathe out, eyes, hands, then feet, back to the earth so you can soften. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold forward, set your hands and step or jump to your high plank again. Breathe in, breathe out and lower down. Choose your back bend. Inhale to open and broaden your chest. And exhale, return to downward dog, and we're not here for very long. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. Then lift your right leg to the sky. Inhale and open. And exhale to step through a really long runner's lunge. So in this runner's lunge, you have options. You can bend your back knee. You can place a foam pad or a sweater or blanket pillow underneath your back knee for support. And with your left hand, we'll keep it low. And take your right hand to the sky. If you want to lift off a little more power, back knee elevates. And you're in a strong lunge. Turn your eyes to the top hand, looking up. And see if you can put a little more weight into your right foot rather than your left hand. You may even lift up to tented fingertips on your left hand. We'll take one more breath in, twisting open. And then breathe out. Take your right hand down to the inside of your right foot. Again, you might be on your back knee. From here, if you're on the back knee, we'll lift off and right away turn your heel across the mat. It may be helpful to come up to a warrior two stance first, or if you're used to this practice, you can stay low and come into extended side angle. There's a couple options. Left hand, straight up from your right hand. Maybe left hand to left hip. Maybe left arm above your head to the front of your mat. If you're coming from warrior two, you may arrive on your forearm. And again, you can reach up, hip, or above your head. Holding here, wherever you choose to be for another 3 breaths. See if you can press your pelvis forward and roll your top left shoulder blade back. Last breath in. And then as you breathe out, eyes return to the floor. Both hands return to the floor. And it's a bit of a tricky transition, but you'll get it eventually. You'll get it smooth. You can always do this by lowering your back knee again to the floor. Swing your right leg around and back behind you. It'll be helpful to bring your left knee right underneath your left hip so you're not forward in a plank. Then slowly you'll reach up with your opposite hand, right hand to the sky. If you did this from your toes, you'll be going from this revolved extended side angle, stepping back, feet either together or apart in side plank. So either here with your knee or feet together. Be sure you're breathing. Side plank is tough. Last breath in. Make it full, make it count. And then exhale, eyes, then hands, back into high plank. Breathe in. Exhale, lower down. Choose your back bend, either cobra, up dog, whatever suits your mood right now. And exhale to a downward facing dog to switch. Left leg grows tall. As you exhale, step through. Once you step through, if it doesn't quite get there, you can always grab your ankle, plop it up to wherever you need it, wiggle it around until you feel that you're in your best lunge. Back knee could meet the mat or something soft. You could keep it lifted. With your right hand, glue it to the earth underneath your shoulder, and we'll twist. Left hand to the sky. So revolve, extended side angle. We're starting here. Either knee down or up. Eyes to the sky. Full breath. And then we transition to regular extended side angle. So left hand comes down to the inside of your left foot. If you're on your knee, lift off and pivot over to your heel so that your back foot is across the mat. Now you can either open up to extended side angle from here, hand to the hip, hand overhead, or you can come on up, situate yourself, prepare for your version, either on your forearm, hand to the inside of your leg, or hand all the way down to the block or the mat. And you can choose your right arm variation. I personally like it straight up overhead. And be sure you're engaging your glutes, so it's really easy to be soft in your hips and just kind of rely on your bones to stack. But instead, squeeze your muscles to your bones, support your joints, continuously engaging. The engagement here is like you want to slide your legs together. One more full breath in. And then as you exhale, bring both of your hands back down to the earth. You'll pivot on your back right toes, and your choice, if you know you have a wrist problem or you just don't like side plank, lower your back knee. And from here, you'll swing the left leg back, right knee underneath your hip, and left hand to the sky. And if you want a little more power, a little more strength, moving from your lunge on your toes, left arm to the sky, we pivot to the outer edge of your back foot, and as gracefully as you can, step left foot to meet the right, stacked or separate. Let's take one more big breath in. I don't think I've done side plank in like a year. Big breath in. And then lower your gaze, lower your hands. Take a full breath in, high plank, and we'll flow through the vinyasa, the sun salutation. Lower down. Inhale, open your chest, choose a back bend. And exhale, either child's pose or a down dog. Depends on what you need right now. And we'll take 3 more cycles of breath. And gently, we'll rise on up through your downward dog if you weren't already there. From that down dog, completing this vinyasa by looking forward, inhale, and exhale, step or jump, feet to your hands. Once you get there, halfway lift, full breath in, exhale, fold forward. Rise tall to standing, full inhale, hands reach, eyes look high, and then exhale, hands to your heart. Pausing, becoming still, expressing our gratitude for the opportunity to move and to feel and to be with ourselves. Take a full breath in and reach your hands towards the sky. You may even choose to sway backward, lengthening up and then back. Exhale, fold forward. Hands return to the mat. Breathe in, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's step back. Doesn't matter which foot because you'll turn sideways. I step back with my left foot so I can watch myself do this. In your wide angle pose, with your feet side by side parallel to one another, you do have the option to turn your toes in toward one another, but keep a softness or a buoyancy to your knees so that you're not locked out straight in your legs. If after a while your ankles get sore, just turn your toes slightly more forward. Like a halfway lift, inhale, strengthen through the back body. And then exhale, take an easy forward fold. So let your head come down and your shoulders relax. This might be a good time to play. Feel it out. You can shake your head yes and shake your head no. And then become still. Eventually get still so you can clasp opposite elbows. You could rest your hands on the floor, but choose stillness for the next 4 to 5 breaths. We want to feel that change in blood pressure, the change in state by being upside down, reversing the effects of gravity. Take a full belly breath. Then inhaling, again into your halfway lift. So light upon your fingertips, strong and long in your spine. You can always adjust the distance of your feet away from one another, just making sure you don't feel like you're going to slip. With your right hand in front of your face, take an inhale and swoop your left arm high, just twisting. Make it feel good. Open and lengthen. You may play with bending your knees and straightening them. Another full breath in as you open, and then exhale, simply switch. Left hand replaces your right. Inhale, right hand to the sky. We'll do it twice more to each side. Inhale, open. Exhale, switch. Inhale, broad. Exhale, close. Last time to each side, you may start to walk this bottom hand closer to the opposite foot as you twist. Full breath in for space. And exhale to switch. Opposite side and last side. Inhaling, open. And exhale, return. Once you return to center, we'll turn our heels in and our toes out. Bend your knees and slowly come on up to standing. You can shake off anything you need to. Roll through your shoulders. Adjust your clothing. And then we'll keep our knees bent and start to sit down a little bit into that goddess-like squat. You might adjust your feet so that it's trickier for your balance. You're giving yourself more challenge in your stability. And take your hands to behind your head. Notice if you're puffing out your chest a lot, and bring your ribs in just a little bit so you can feel the engagement of your belly. Take an inhale tall, Exhale, squat, and lean over to one side. See if you can tap your elbow to your knee. Inhale, come back to center tall. Exhale, squat a little more, and then lean to the other side. 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen at center. Exhale, squat, lean. Inhale, and exhale. Final time, inhale. Really challenge yourself, go lower, lean and tap. Inhale, little lower, lean and tap. Come back to center, open up your arms, cactus arms. You might want to shrug your shoulders, feel the tension between your shoulder blades as they try to sneak together. Last full breath in, and then exhale, rise on up to standing and shake it off. Let's turn your toes back forward, soften your knees, they're ready to support you, and then clasping your hands. So your hands go behind your back, and you can interlace your fingers and press your palms, but try the other finger over top. So you usually have a certain way of interlacing your fingers. Try the other way. Even switch your thumbs. Roll your shoulder blades back up and down. Soften your knees, get ready to fold. Inhale, open the chest, and then exhale, fold forward. Now, as you fold forward, your arms may not lift very far away from your lower back. That's okay. If there's no point in really having your hands bound together, clasp opposite elbows. You could work to get your forearms just a little bit farther away from your lower back. You could have bent elbows as you try and reach your hands up. The idea is that you want to bring your shoulder blades close together first, and then lift your arms up and over. Oftentimes, if you're hypermobile in your elbows, you'll just use your elbows to get your arms straight, but we want to get into your shoulders. We want to get into your chest, more so than the rotation of your upper arm bones. So I keep a little bit of a bend in my elbows so that I can feel more of a stretch around the ligaments of my rotator cuffs. You'll find your happy medium, and you may not be doing this at all. You can always bring your hands down. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath. Your head is heavy, legs are strong and supportive. You're creating space in your shoulders. And then slowly, hands release. Bring them down to support you underneath your head and lift again to that halfway sensation. Once you're halfway, bend into one knee, bend into the other. Again, freeing up some space after that static stretch. It's nice to become mobile again, fluid again. Eventually, you'll work your way back to that high plank. Either end of your mat, doesn't matter. Once you're in high plank, take a strong breath in. Let your exhale move you down to the mat. Untuck your toes, choose your back bend, breathing in with strong legs, strong glutes. And exhale, either child's pose or a downward facing dog. Full breath in. And as you start that exhale, walk your hands backwards, palming your way back so your hands arrive at your feet. Halfway lift, full cycle in, fold, and breathe all the way out. Bend your knees and we'll rise on up to standing. As you rise up to standing, reach tall. Inhale, lengthen a little more, and then exhale, shake it off. Shake off anything. You can even bounce a bit. Let your arms sway. We're going to get into some standing and balancing. So more so than a half moon. Standing and balancing on one foot. So if you have walls or surfboards or people around you to support you, use that. It's better to have some sort of support for standing and balancing than falling all over the place just trying to stay stable. It's nice to achieve what the posture is kind of asking for than focusing so much on just staying on your foot. So you can step off of your mat and we'll step onto the right foot. We'll be coming into airplane or warrior 3, and I like to do it with a little bit of movement first to turn on all of those tiny stabilizers. So really tall and lifted in your chest and strong in your belly. Arms wherever you want them to be. Step onto your right foot and just lean forward. See what it's like to take flight. And then arrive back up to standing, and let's bring your left knee forward and up and in. We'll do it a couple times, kind of like that bird that falls over to get water. And then back, up, swing it in and up. One more time. And then once you come back up, see about kicking it forward. Rebend your left knee, and then try on airplane again. And we'll do that twice more. Swing it up and in. Try on a straight left leg. Rebend, then kick it back. Swing it forward and up, final time. Kick it straight, bend. This time as you swoop it back, we're going to hold. So if you hold here with your toe even there for a bit of kickstand support, awesome. If you're an inch off the ground, great. If you are dive bombing your airplane forward, great. It does not matter to me. You get to choose your challenge. Whichever one you choose, you can also choose the expression of your arms. You can choose to be cactus, forward, reaching down, reaching behind you, even bound. Track your breath. Notice if the posture is coming first, and can you reorder, choosing breath before movement, breath before body shape. Last inhale. And then we return to standing, slow and steady with control as both feet place, feel them firm. Right away into the second side. So if you need to move around to find your hand on a wall, just for more stable support, just reorder so that you can be comfortable. Now on your left foot, taking flight. Once you feel your pressure come into the left foot, lean forward, try it on. See where you're at on this side. Then slowly come to standing, but miss your right foot. Bring it forward and up, and then in. So you're increasing that active range of motion within your right hip joint. And then back behind you. And then again forward. Smooth and simple. Arms wherever you need them to be for support. Now this time, as you swing it forward and in, try it on a straight leg. Drive it forward. Then rebend and lift, and slowly swoop it back. Again, forward, bent, in and up, then straighten, rebend, and back. Final time, swoop forward and in, kick straight and long, bend, and then this time we'll hold our airplane. So you have many different options for how much you'd like to take flight and for what you'd like your airplane wings to look like. We'll take about 5 more breaths. If after one breath this isn't sustainable, adjust. Choose something new. Choose what's appropriate for your breath and your body right now. Final full length of an inhale. extra long exhale. Then gracefully come back upright to standing. Ground your feet into the earth and pause. Feel your sense of stability and your strength, your sense of balance, and the sensation of breath moving through you. Take a long breath in and gently reach your arms back up into the sky. Keep soft knees this whole time and take a really kind of exasperated forward fold, just letting it go. We'll do it again. So roll on up with control, using the strength of your legs to lift. Reach tall, inhale, and then let it go. Again, all the way up. Breathe in, open, stretch. Exhale. Twice more. Inhale, tall. Exhale, release. Final time. All the way down and shake it off. We'll make our way to our bellies. So you can step back, maybe flow through the vinyasa, low push-up, up dog, but eventually land on your belly. We'll turn your head one direction, doesn't matter, and let everything become completely grounded, completely soft, just kind of giving in to the earth. Feel your heartbeat and your breath rate. Slowly, you can turn your chin back to center. And this time without your hands, we'll choose a back bend. So first option is to simply lift your head as high as you wish to go. Once your head is lifted, you have space to roll your shoulder blades back and hands simply reach. Another option, to lift your legs along with your upper body. And legs don't want to splay too wide apart. Try your best to keep them somewhat together. And maybe arms lift higher too. Full breath in. Keep the back of your neck long. That double chin effect is definitely welcome here. Last inhale. Lift a little higher as you exhale. And then turn your opposite cheek, other side of your face, down to the floor. And rest. Do nothing. Next back bend. Turn your chin back to the middle. And this time you have the option to bind your hands to one another, rolling your shoulder blades back and lifting your chest. Or you have the option to bend your knees and bind your hands to your ankles or your feet, whatever you can find comfortably. If you're really struggling to bind, it's not worth it. Just bind your hands. Take an inhale and lift your upper body as best you can. And then as you exhale, try on lifting your legs. So if you're bound with your hands to your feet, try to lift your thighs as you kick back into the bind of your hands. If you can't quite find your feet and your hands are bound towards one another, imagine your hands reaching back towards your heels and your legs lift and they stay close together. Take a couple belly breaths. Final inhale. And then as you exhale, hands release to underneath your shoulders, Slowly peel yourself up, lean back, and take rest in child's pose. Your head can rest on your mat or your hands, so long as you're resting. Slowly you'll start to rise on up. And it might be wise to bring a blanket or a pillow for underneath your knees. If you don't have that available right away, I like to just roll over the middle of the mat so that there's like 4 mats underneath my knees. We'll be trying on a bit of Ustrasana or camel pose. And in camel pose, the brunt of the kind of action or the posture is sometimes taken into the lower back. And rather than bending at your lower back and thinking that it's a back bend, let's think of it more as a chest opening posture. So we won't even move the lower back, or we'll try our best not to move the lower back by recruiting our glutes. So engage through your bum cheeks, really squeeze them tight. You can do this with toes tucked or toes untucked. You could even do this by squeezing a block in between your thighs, any height, so long as you feel that engagement. And let's keep that engagement the whole time with your hands connected to your hips. Roll your shoulder blades back, find that tall, proud posture, and just a few times, lean back like a plank. So notice how I'm not leaning back and bending into my back. Tall first, strong through the glutes, and that'll turn on your lower belly too. Lean back all at once, knees to head, and come back upright. Let's do it twice more. Lean back and upright. Lean and back upright. So a lot of strength being used for your quadriceps, and we want to keep that strength in your lower body to support your lower back or your lower spinal joints. I like to keep my toes tucked for embracing the chest opening. It just feels better on my knees. Hands again to your lower back, and this is where we'll start. Engage your glutes, grow tall, but this time bring your elbows closer toward one another. Now you have a choice to keep your chin in or slowly let your head fall back. Now notice as soon as you did that, or I did that actually, I'm not accusing you of anything. As soon as I let my head fall back, my glutes softened. So I come back to home base. I come back to like level 1. Tall, engage, elbows lean back, and then I'm going to try again. Head coming back. And then if I have the space and I'm comfortable, I could reach back one hand to one foot. Today it's not really feeling good, so I'm going to stay with both hands to my lower back. You might be able to reach both of your hands back. You might be able to keep your head back and have your hands on your ankles. But wherever you're choosing to be, what's best for you, never compromising your breath. Breathe up into your chest for another 2 cycles. Keep your glutes engaged. Strong and tall first, then embracing the chest opening. Last inhale. Then as you exhale, if your head's back, draw your chin in, slowly rise to standing. If your toes were untucked, retuck them, and take a seat back onto your tucked toes. Once you're here, cat and cow through your pelvis and your spine. You might want to move your spine around in a few spirals. You can shrug through your shoulders. Anything to free up space, to dissipate tension, to move freely. All the while, still on your tucked toes. If you're really favoring one foot than the other, or your knees don't like this, you can lean forward and knuckle down to take the pressure out of your knees and your toes. But if you can stay on your tucked toes, really therapeutic to stretch out all the connective tissue in the soles of your feet. If you're a glutton for punishment, you can lean back a little more. Even try lifting one knee, lifting the other, lifting both. Just another couple of rounds of breath, and send your breath a bit lower into your belly. We'll start to wind the practice down. And then the best part is coming out of this pose. So once you come out, lengthen your mat if it was all rolled up, and swing your legs forward. Once your legs are forward, you might want to give them a shake, massage through your kneecaps, roll through your ankles, wiggle your toes. Be sure there's enough mat behind you, but your feet are still connected to your mat. And you're kind of lifting your gift out from underneath you so that you really feel your sit bones grounded rather than back onto your tailbone. We want to sit as tall as we can, and if your knees bend here, that's fine too. Take an inhale, let's reach tall. Full breath in. Now as you exhale, reach forward, but don't let your hands come down just yet. Then inhale, back up. Exhale, long and forward. Inhale, long and tall. Last time, exhale, reach, reach, reach forward, and then land with your hands anywhere that they want to go. Maybe your knees can soften down, and your head could soften down. If you want to keep your legs a bit wider, making more space for your belly to move and breathe, that may feel comfortable too. I personally like to move a little side to side in a seated forward fold. It lengthens either side of the lower back, those deeper, long, tenderloin-like muscles lining your spine. Let's take one more extra long breath. And then use your hands to lift you back up to seated. Once your hands are up here beside you, turn the top sides of your hands down. So not like this, hands down on the floor. So they're not flat palms, it's the fingernail sides of your hands down. Now, if you have short arms, you can move them forward or backward. If you have long arms, again, you work so that your proportions line up. And you're letting go of the weight of your arms down into the ground. You should feel the slow release of tension from your wrists up to your forearms, into your elbow. You may want to clench a tight fist, try that, and then flare your fingers wide. Still with the top sides of your hands down, just clenching a fist and open, fist and open. Here, I like to try one finger at a time, slowly curling pinky all the way up to the thumb, and then flaring them out one at a time. Just noticing the dexterity of my hands, the control I have on each individual part. If you lean back a little bit, you'll gain more stretch sensation. But we'll just take one more breath in. And then come forward. And as you come forward, like Frankenstein, arms in front of you, and then just shake them. Shake, shake, shake. Flop them up and down, roll them in circles, open and close. Well, again, swing your hands down beside you. Now you can choose either fists behind you. You can choose flat hands, palms down with your fingers facing you, or fingers kind of open to 10 and 2 behind you. So long as you can bend your elbows and somewhat shrug your shoulders, you have mobility in your upper body before you bear weight onto your hands. Bring your legs together. Option number one is reverse plank. So pointing your toes, lift your chest, and you might lift your hips an inch. You may lift all the way up into a plank position and then in like camel pose, chin in, or head all the way back. Option number two is reverse table. So you can step your feet to the mat about hip distance. And again, 1 inch counts, or all the way up into reverse table, hips in line with your shoulders and your knees, and your chin all the way in or all the way back. Whichever one you choose, be sure your elbows don't lock out. I have hyperextended elbows, so I keep a little bit of a bend in them. Engage through your glutes no matter which variation you're choosing, and take another breath in, lift tall, and then exhale, slowly take a seat. As you take a seat, your head lifts too, and we'll bring the soles of your feet together. Hands might need a shake out, but eventually basket your hands around your toes or hands around your ankles. Sit tall. Find your sit bones rooted more than your tailbone. Press your knees a little bit wider, just so you feel a little stretch on the inner thigh. And then chin can start to draw in. Now there's no pull with your arms forward. Simply hands anchored to your toes or your ankles. And with the length and the strength of your spine, keep your spine erect, except for the vertebrae in your neck. So chin hangs forward. And then if you love this sensation, you'd like to add more sensation, start to move your chin from side to side, or your whole head from side to side. Do what feels good. Maybe wise to move your jaw and your tongue, noticing any unnecessary tension held, and then choosing to release. Let's take another breath as you bring your head back to center and your chin can lift away from your chest. And then exhale, we'll let go of this pull. Let your spine round forward and gravity does the work now. So hands can flop onto the mat. Wherever you flop forward, let yourself be there. You might not flop very much, and that's cool. Again, here, I like to sway a little side to side from hip to hip. Take a belly breath. And then again, using your hands to support you, press yourself back up to seated. We'll keep your left knee bent, but separate your feet and step your right foot to the floor, and you can swing your left leg in front of you, just so that you're mostly seated on your left glutes now. If that's not accessible, you can keep your left leg straight in front of you. From here, right foot steps in a little closer, and if you can cross it to the outside of your left thigh. We'll come into a seated spinal twist. So grounding both of your sit bones down as best you can. If you're really leaning over to the left, try straightening your left leg in front of you. If you can keep both of your bum cheeks down, left arm hugs your right knee and right hand behind you. So you should feel like you're bringing your right leg to your left shoulder. Hug it close. Sit tall as you breathe in and twist as you breathe out. Slowly spin back. Now, if your left leg is straight, lean over to your left bum cheek so you can bring it back in. If both knees were bent, keep them bent. Now, both hands over to your left. So a little bit of that optical illusion to get to the other side. So your feet stay glued. Press into your feet, lift your bum. So you might end up in a wide angle forward fold. But then as you rotate over to the other side, bend your knees. You should land on your right bum cheek with your left leg over top. So it should look like the opposite. If you were to go back and around again, you should be on the opposite side for your twist. With your right leg underneath, left leg, your foot could be in front of your shin or cross it over to the outside of your thigh. Take your right arm around your left leg, both sit bones evenly glued to the earth, and your left hand just supports that height behind you. Take an inhale for height, and then exhale to rotate. It's like you want to bring your right shoulder towards your right knee or left knee, or hugging the left leg close. Full breath in, and then exhale. Let's rewind. And as you rewind, lean back, unwind your legs, and tap your heels or your toes down. And be sure there's enough mat behind you because now we're going to rock back. You have a couple options to get there. Of course, you can simply lean back slowly until you're reclined. You can take it from Navasana with legs bent, your Navasana with legs straight. Whichever way you choose, take an inhale and lengthen your spine. As you exhale, slowly move yourself low and down to the mat. Once you're on the mat, be sure you got space. Stretch your arms above your head, take a yawn or a sigh if needed. And then as you exhale, draw your knees back into your body. Sway and massage your lower back into the earth. We'll take a deep hip opening here on your back. I chose to do pigeon on the back because it's a lot more accessible to those of you who have compromised knees or pretty closed hips. If you want to take traditional pigeon, of course, you can come up into your down dog and swing a leg forward. I mean, if you know what traditional pigeon is, go for it. From here on your back, pigeon reclining, we'll keep the left foot on the mat and take your right leg to the sky. Now with your right toes, they're probably facing your leg for the most part. It might look like this with your knee bent or your leg forward. But now turn your toes out. So as if your right toes were at 12, work them over to 1 or 2 o'clock. Then from here, can you tap the outside of your left leg? Try it again. Might be tricky, but tap right ankle to left knee. And now your left hand can always support in sliding it down a couple inches. So if you can't quite even get it to tap, it stays kind of on the kneecap, reach and bring it down. Keep your right foot as flexed as you can. It's just kind of a thing that we teach. I have no idea why we keep it flexed. It feels good on my knee, but if you want to keep your leg floppy, doesn't matter to me. No pain, it's all good. With your lower back, see if you can keep a little bit of a lift. It's okay if your skin and flesh kind of touch the mat, but see if you can extend through your lower spine so there's less pressure in your lower spinal joints. And most of the pressure is now down on your sacrum or your tailbone. Then from here, you could feel enough stretch already. You can even just work your right knee away from you. If you'd like a bit more, you've maybe practiced this before, threading the needle. So your hands go through the loop to the back of your left thigh as you bring your legs in. Now what often happens is we flatten the lower back to bring the knees in. See if you can keep the lower back still lifted. You might not bring your legs as close, and that's fine. I find it helpful to move side to side a couple of times just to see if I'm leaning over to one side more than the other. And eventually you'll find your own sweet spot, a spot that doesn't require too much effort and has just enough sensation so that it holds your attention, so that you don't wander away and start doing something else within your mind. Just enough physical sensation to keep the mind here, keep the mind present in your body. Now you can stay here for as long as you'd like, as long as it feels good. We'll slowly start to journey out. Release your hands, return your foot, right leg to the sky, and then slowly lower it down, down, down. Gets in the way of this heater. And then gently step it to the mat. Once it's there, it may be helpful to sway your knee side to side, stretch your arms, take a yawn. And then we'll simply switch. So first step, get a little bit of a lift in your lower back. Your hips stay connected, middle back stays connected, but the lower spine is in that natural inward curve. Then let's lift your left leg to the sky. It may look like this, forward, that's fine. It may look straight up and walk straight, awesome. Either way, let's externally rotate. So right now your left toes are probably facing 12 o'clock. Turn them open to 11 or 10. So you're not rotating your ankle only, you're rotating your whole leg so that this rotation is originating in your hip joint. Then from here with that external rotation, see if you can tap the right knee. Tap and come back. And it's okay if it taps the top or the inside or the outside, doesn't matter, just tap. Eventually, right hand might have to assist in bringing it down so it can kind of hook in front of your thigh. Once it's there, you can choose to stay here. Check in, is the lower back still slightly lifted? It's not grounded. Little lift in the lower back. And you could get enough sensation with your left hand pressing the left knee away from you. And that could be it for you. That could be enough. If you'd like to thread the needle, both hands come into play behind your right thigh or over top of your right shin with a grip, and without flattening your lower back, keep the lower back lifted and draw your knees close. Up to you if you point your left toes, flex through your left ankle, just so long as your left knee is all right with this orientation. And as we slow our practice down, it's nice to turn our gaze inward, turning your attention more so to now the movement of the mind and movement of emotion or thought. Yes, we're still physical, inhabiting these physical bodies and watching the breath physically move through you. But we've trained the mind to be with the body, so let's continue to train the mind to be with itself. And we'll take another cycle of breath. Watch it come all the way in. And watch the breath fully leave you. And we'll make the journey back. Release your hands, re-step your foot, extend your left leg tall, and gently, slowly lower it forward and down. Once it's there, bring it back in towards your right foot. Move and groove the way it feels best. If there's any final movements that your body craves, if you like to get inverted, you can send both of your legs straight up. A pillow, blocks, blankets underneath your hips so they're lifted in an assisted shoulder stand. If shoulder stands in your practice, go for it. Headstands in your practice, go for it. I have no idea who's watching this, so you do what's best for you. I personally simply like legs up. You can bring legs up against a wall as well. But twisting, taking another bridge, maybe full wheel pose if that's in your practice. Really anything goes to kind of finish the physical, to let the body kind of talk, see what it needs, and respond wisely with your movement. Respond with your breath. So we can nurture the body and prepare it for rest. Whatever you're doing, if it's asymmetrical, be sure that you complete it with the equal amount of time on each side. It may look different from side to side, but equal effort, equal intention from side to side. When you're ready for rest, set yourself up so that you're comfortable, you're warm, you feel supported. Use any props, a blanket. You can lie down flat. You can lie down the same way you started in a bound angle pose. If your lower back doesn't really love being flat with your legs flat too, you can bend your knees and have them kind of knock together like a tripod. Anything goes so long as you can rest. If you're doing this before bed, crawl into bed. And so just as important as all of the movement, the shapes we created, the time spent in stillness, letting your body do what it does best, which is create balance, create healing. We give the body the time and the space to do whatever it needs to do. And then our practice becomes that of the mental or the emotional domains. We get real and we get curious about the movement of our own minds, where we wander, not why, but just where. The quality, the pace of your own thinking. We accept it, we choose it. Whatever thoughts move through the mind, it is what it is. That's how it's going for you right now. And if we're real with ourselves, if we continue the practice of observing, noticing, choosing what is, we persevere through that, eventually we get to create a little space. There's less control on the thoughts, less need for it to be any different. We create a little bit of space to choose what's next. We create what's next. We intend our way forward. And that cycle repeats itself over and over and over again through different stages, different contexts, different intentions. You can choose to rest here for as long as you need. Whenever your mind wanders, you simply bring it back to curiosity. Bring it back to the moment, here and now, what's real. Bring it back to choosing to be where you are. And staying in the perseverance of it all without just coping your way through. Sticking to your guns, sticking to your intention so that you may create what's next for you. You can intentionally intend your way forward into whatever is next for you. You're never stuck. You always have a choice. And I am so very, very grateful, thankful, appreciative, all of those words, for your choice in practicing today. Whether you did 5 minutes or the whole thing, I thank you for stepping onto your mat and paying attention to yourself. Much, much love, much respect. I'll see you again soon.